What's up guys, Vulkan here, and today we're in Godfall talking about the newly revealed endgame mode, Tower of Trials, and how loot's going to work in the game. So just to be clear, they said Tower of Trials is just one example of endgame and not the only thing that Godfall will have, which is great to hear. More is better. Variety is life. We also heard about another endgame mode called Dreamstones, which sounds interesting. I'm curious if these are going to be like maps where you can, crack open a Dreamstone and it takes you to a special area and you can clear it and all that stuff. Maybe, maybe not, who knows. So the Tower of Trials opens up after the main story and was described as a roguelike endgame challenge that can be played solo or in a party of up to 3 players. The way this works is that you'll have to face floors of enemies that get progressively stronger the deeper you go. Players are going to start the tower with the elevator trial, where they need to clear waves of enemies to earn keys. You can then use these keys to choose between a few doors, which will lead to different levels, but also reward you with boons and items. Now, players are going to be able to see what rewards are given for each level, but they can only get that reward if they clear it. So this is helpful because you can prioritize things, right? You have 3 doors, one with crafting materials, one with weapons, one with amulets. You can prioritize what your build needs. My amulet's really weak, so I'm going to click on the amulet door. And that way I can go through, try to clear it, and get some upgrades for my gear. As you're progressing through these different levels and different rooms, there will also be some chests that spawn. And these chests are going to require a certain amount of keys to open them, which seems like it's either going to force players to make a decision between progressing deeper or using all of their keys, stopping there, opening the chest, and collecting all the loot. Or it might just be a threshold, where it requires players to have gathered a certain amount of keys in total before they can open it. For instance, you need 100 gathered keys across all of your runs in order to open this chest, which gives you a special thing. Now, luckily, there aren't any timers in this mode, which I think is a great decision on their part, and each room encounter is going to be different from the last. Now, of course, we're going to see repeats, right? We're not going to have a completely unique run every single time we rerun it, but hopefully there's enough variety to keep things interesting, and so you're not seeing the same 3 objectives just repeating all the way through the tower. So where does all of this lead us? We're clearing these floors, we're completing objectives. Well, eventually you're going to reach the center of the monolith. Now, we aren't sure what exactly that is, but I'm guessing it's either a title fight with some big boss that rewards some of the best loot in the game, or the center might be the treasure room, and the floor before that is the title fight to access it. So Counterplay Games also mentioned that this is a roguelike mode, meaning if you die or leave the tower, you're going to lose all of your progress, and you're going to lose all of your keys. Everything resets back to 0, and you start with a fresh slate every single time you step foot in the Tower of Trials. So be sure to keep that in mind and plan your runs accordingly. Now, holistically, I mean, from what I'm hearing, this sounds similar to what other games are running these days, right? Lots of games are opting for the roguelike experience, where a death kind of wipes out your progress, and this helps make endgames seem longer. And I have a feeling this mode is going to be one where you make it to floor 8, then you die, maybe do a different endgame mode to gather some more gear, and then try it again to see if you can push to floor 9, and it's probably going to be a slow grind. And honestly, I'm 100% okay with that. I feel like this is a type of mode where you're going to move slowly, you're going to progress slowly, and each kind of floor that you clear is going to be an incremental sense of progression, rather than flying all the way to the end, killing the last boss, and getting the loot there. Will there be people that do that? Absolutely. But honestly, that's not going to be the expectation for the majority of gamers. And there will be a group of people who blast through within the first week, then complain about the lack of content. It's just the cycle of new releases. But like I said, for the normal gamer, this seems like a good mode as long as it's not the only thing that we'll have access to. So I'm hoping Dreamstones are something very different to give us some variety. So let's talk about loot. What does endgame mode get us, right? We're talking about going through, clearing these floors, getting loot, and what exactly is loot in Godfall? Well, first off, I'm going to be diving deeper into Valor plates in another video, but for now, just know that these serve as your class and they give you unique abilities. Now, besides your Valor plate, players will also be able to equip 2 weapons, 2 rings, an amulet, and a charm in your loadout. And each one of these has a unique primary trait and then a secondary trait that's randomly rolled. So you have 1 static trait and 1 RNG trait. In terms of weapons, there's 120 different weapons in the game. They all have unique names, unique lore tied to them, and a primary trait that's specific to that piece of gear. So I'm a little skeptical about this. I mean, from what I've seen, handcrafted loot doesn't always mean it's better loot. I mean, look at Destiny 2. Right? When it first launched, it had handcrafted loot and people were excited. There wouldn't be any more, quote, bad weapons, but it ended up killing the excitement for drops, and I know it did for me. Like, I can't tell you how many times I saw a Scathelocke drop. I knew exactly what stats it had, what perks it had, how it performed. I already had 10 of them, automatic dismantle, and it was a letdown. You finally see an Ingram drop, and you're like, whoa, what is this going to be? Nope, it's just another Scathelocke. Throw it on the pile, dismantle it, don't care. So having purely handcrafted loot doesn't always work past the first drop of that item. Now luckily, Godfall has one randomly rolled stat on gear, and so hopefully we'll see some cool and interesting secondary traits to help maintain that level of excitement, even if a mediocre weapon drops. Players are also going to have something called a Lifestone, which functions like a potion that builds charges as you kill enemies, and it's going to have a primary and secondary trait as well. We didn't get any details, but the developer did say that there's some pretty cool loot triggers attached to them, which might be something simple like increasing a certain item type drop rate, or maybe just a flat magic find bonus. Not entirely sure, but it's cool that potions will have some of those traits attached. And lastly, you're going to have something called a battle banner, and the battle banner is going to build charges as you kill enemies, just like the Lifestone, but this one lets you place a banner in the ground. It's going to buff you and your teammates or debuff enemies. And this is something that sounds really cool because I like the idea of being able to stack these with other players, and I feel like it encourages strategic placement rather than just button smashing. So overall, between the Lifestone and the Battle Banner, I like the charge system much better than a quantity system or a cooldown system when it comes to healing specifically. Being able to kind of manage fights and kite to heal up is a better experience, in my opinion, than just flat out running out of potions and either having to run away, die, or kind of survive by the, skin of your teeth type of deal. So I think overall, I like the direction there. That wraps up the actual items you can equip in Godfall, but you will see other things drop like crafting materials, which are used to upgrade gear and valor plates, also constellation augments and things like that. We'll be getting deeper into those for our valor plates video. But overall, guys, what do you think of Endgame so far in Godfall? What do you guys think Dreamstones are? And are you going to pick this game up? Does it interest you? Is it a skip? Is this something that you're going to kind of wait and see if it goes on sale? I want to hear from everybody. Once again, thank you so much for watching. This is Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.